Hello and welcome to the program. I am Deji. The Nigerian government last Friday rolled out the Astrazeneca COVAX vaccine for Nigerians. The event, which held at the National Hospital in Abuja, was declared open by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa. Interestingly, the vaccine was well received by Nigerians, contrary to fears over a possible vaccine hesitancy. The first man to receive the vaccine in the country, a medical doctor, Cyprian Ngog, expressed happiness and called it a dream come true. Unfortunately, Cyprian's father died of COVID-19. Now, over 2 million Nigerians registered to take the vaccine within the first 24 hours that the portal for registration was opened, a clear indication that many Nigerians are willing to take the vaccine after all. But the big challenge going forward is how the vaccine will be distributed effectively to reach Nigerians. The logistics of it is certainly going to be very tough, but the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency says it is more than ready to ensure that the vaccine, the logistics are well handled and that the distribution of vaccination now goes smoothly. Joining me now to take a deeper look now into this is Dr. NSEABASI, who is a public health physician. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Dr. NSEABASI. Let me start by asking you, what would you say is the most efficient way now for government to distribute this vaccine?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. I want to say that before the arrival of the vaccine, there has been a strategic plan by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. And in some of the meetings that we attended, these plans were rolled out. And the first batch of the COVID-19 vaccine, the one that came in on Tuesday, which is about 3.92 million doses, would be given to health workers. The priority here are the frontline health workers, because these are actually people who are at the front line fighting the virus, the pandemic. And then a list of about 60,000 frontline health workers who are involved in the vaccination program, in the vaccination program, was submitted to the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. These are the first set of people across the entire 36 states, including the FCT, that will receive the vaccine. After that, we'll now look at other health workers who might not be involved in the vaccination, but might be involved in active surveillance and management of COVID-19, which we have close to hundreds of thousands of these health workers. Now, when we are done with that, we'll now be looking at the people above the age of 65. And the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency has already rolled out, online platform where people can register. So they will include in the registration their name, their location, and their ages. Based on this database, the NPHCDA will make up a list of the people above the age of 65 that will be given this vaccine across the 36 states, including the FCT. So there is a plan in place to ensure that the people who need this vaccine first get access to the vaccine across all states. Now, in those war-torn areas in the Northeast, there is an additional plan to ensure that security personnel are attached to healthcare officers, public health officers, to ensure that while administering the vaccine, the security of both the health personnel and the first people coming for the vaccination are, their security is guaranteed. So there is a plan to ensure that these vaccines are not going to be sabotaged. Neither are they going to be hoarded.
Now, close to 2,000 Nigerians have died from COVID-19, and over 150,000 have been infected since the disease made a landing here. Yet people are still openly flouting the protocols put in place by the government. Now, with that kind of attitude, do you think many in this country will want to take this vaccine?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So as far as COVID-19 vaccine is concerned, for me, I feel that I see it as the only way out of this pandemic. It is not the first time that we are seeing epidemics like COVID-19. And in all of them, we've seen that the only way to eliminate this epidemic, or rather pandemic, is through vaccination. Polio epidemic, the wild polio pandemic, was eliminated in Nigeria through immunization. The guinea worm, even the Lassa fever and many other things, even the Ebola that we know much about, was eliminated in most part of Africa through vaccination. So for COVID-19, as every other viral disease, the only way out in eliminating this pandemic is through vaccination. And so for us as Nigerians, let us not listen to rumors making the rounds. What is important to us is how we can eliminate COVID-19 so that we can have our lives back. And I'm putting it here that the only way we can achieve that is through vaccination. Of course, fine, we know that the public health measures like, hand hygiene, social distancing, even, the use of face masks is actually good. But the truth is that it is not sufficient enough to eliminate the pandemic. At best, it can help us to reduce the transmission from one person to the other. But for us to be able to eliminate the pandemic, we need to have what we call a passive immunity. This passive immunity will help our body to fight the virus if we are exposed to it. It is true that most countries of the world have initiated COVID-19 vaccine, and we're already seeing a steady decline in the rate of transmission of this virus. The same is expected in Nigeria when we have rolled out the vaccine. So people should not see COVID-19 vaccine as maybe a strategy to depopulate Africa like we have been seeing in most of the WhatsApp videos and voice notes. The truth is that the vaccine has been carefully designed to be safe and effective in reducing the rate of transmission of COVID-19. And if up to about 70% of Nigerians can accept and receive this vaccine, then we would have reached what we call herd immunity.
So moving on now, even after taking the vaccine, do people still need to observe the protocols laid down by the federal government, or people can basically just go about their business as usual, a return to partying, outings, and all of that?
Okay, thank you very much. After taking COVID-19 vaccine, the first thing we should note is that after the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, immunity is not acquired. It is after taking the second dose of the vaccine that we can be closer to acquiring immunity. Even as that, until we are able to vaccinate above 70% of our population, that is only when we can be sure that we have reduced significantly the rate of transmission of the virus. Until then, we all have to obey or adhere to the precautionary measures against COVID-19. It is not a guarantee that once you've taken the vaccine, that you are going to develop immunity immediately. It will take a while. And within this period, it is necessary for us to protect others by still adhering to the safety precautions, which include wearing a mask, social distancing, and of course, hand hygiene.
Dr. NSEABASI, thank you very much for sharing your time with us, and thank you so very much for that insight. We'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll turn our attention to security matters. Stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Deji 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
Deji 360, dissecting the issues.